Thank you very much. South Sudan is one of the most promising markets that we've gotten into. As much as the challenges there, it's a new country, just they've had their own challenges even after independence with the currency. They seem to be sorting out the issues that have arisen since independence. Then if you look at the potential for that country, it's very big. And for us, we are looking at it from a longer term perspective. So we don't want to just have a short term view. We want to look at it and say, if we are in now, then the potential for us doing business in a great and profitable way is huge in South Sudan. It's virgin land. So for us, we are likely to actually break even in South Sudan earlier than even some of the other markets that are more developed that we are getting into.
What is the regulatory environment in that country rather? What has it been like?
Yes, as you'd imagine, for such a new country, I keep on saying it's like Kenya in 1965. So there are very many things that have not been set in place, and sometimes it's a discovery process, even as you register a company, even as you go through the licensing process. So it's challenging. It's challenging, but the government there and the regulators, specifically the regulator for South Sudan is Bank of South Sudan, are very keen in helping investors with a brand like ours settle in. So while there might be processes that have not been finalized or implemented at this stage, you see that they are willing to help investors like ourselves go through the process, and they're willing to listen to some of the ideas of what happens in other markets and what has worked well. So it's challenging in the sense that you don't get things ready to flow, but also exciting in the way that the support that you get from those government officials, especially the Bank of South Sudan.
Now, Rwanda's being a top performer in terms, if you look at the progress that has been made and the types of reforms that they've put into place. Are you going to maybe let us know about what are some of the measures that you'll be putting into place to ensure that you are ready to go into that country, and how will you be funding this expansion?
Okay, Rwanda is probably going to be our next entry very, very soon. So yes, we've done our research in that market. It's a very attractive market for investors in the sense that, unlike what I've said in South Sudan, most of the processes are already set, and the laws and regulations are clear, and they're very good in enabling business from investors. So we see it as a much more smoother process in terms of entry, and it's very clear what you need to, you can expect. And then if you look at the companies, other companies that have gone there, for us then it creates a clear market, because some of those companies that have set up in Rwanda are companies that we already do business with in Nairobi and in Kenya. So how much are we going to put in there? There's the regulatory capital, but then there's also the capital required to just run that operations. We see ourselves putting in about 300 million Kenya shillings for that investment, and that should be enough to run the company for another 3 years.
Now, you're obviously expanding into different countries, but each country is very different in terms of how they do business, as we've just discussed. How do you stay relevant in the different countries and ensuring that your product or what you're offering does speak to the majority of the population or your market, so to speak?
Each country is very, very different, and we've seen that. So what we do is we obviously benefit from the knowledge and the expertise that our local companies in Kenya have, especially the insurance business in terms of long-term business and also the short-term business, but also our asset management business. However, if you go to a place like South Sudan, trying to do life business is a tall order. So then we look at the market and see what is the main need for this particular market. So we engage in very detailed research, both internally and externally. And we know exactly what is the need of the people in this country and where is their gap, and what can we do to provide and fill in that gap profitably.